Well, this here is the all-new Maruti Alto K10. It starts from rupees 3.99 lakh ex-showroom, which makes it one of the most affordable as well as inexpensive cars on sale in India after, of course, the Alto 800. But the big question is, is inexpensive and is cheap the same thing? Because according to a dictionary, cheap means something which is of inferior quality, something which is below standard, and inexpensive means something which is of good value and offers you good value. So is this car value for money product, or is it really a cheap car? We'll find that out at the end of the review. But before beginning, let me just make a small request. Please do subscribe to this channel and also like this video if you enjoy watching car video content. Now let's start this video with a walk around. Well, let's start talking about the design from the back first. Now, the back end of the car is a very simple design. It's got no fancy features. You, of course, don't get any wash wipe. So nothing of that sort on this car. And the design also is all square and boxy. But it's not a design which is very striking or very sporty. But that said, it's also not a design which is offensive. It won't offend anyone in terms of the way it looks. So it's a simple design, Alto badging, K10 badging, and the Suzuki logo. And of course, exhaust pipe is visible. Again, as I said, very simple design. Well, let's quickly talk about the side profile of the car. Now, as you can see, this car comes with 145 section tires across the range. Even the base version, the standard version, has 145 section tires, and it gets 13-inch wheels. Now, these wheels might look a little bit small compared to the body of the car, but they do their job. We'll talk about that when we drive. And you, of course, get steel wheels with these hubcaps mounted on. But this, of course, comes only on the VXI as well as the VXI Plus version that we're driving today. The base versions don't get any kind of caps on them, so that's something which you need to keep in mind. Side profile again is very square and boxy, nothing much to talk about, and the mirror is all black because it's plastic, and Maruti is saving cost over there. No sensors on the outside, so if you want to open this car, you have to use the key, or of course use the central locking, which this car gets. If you move on to the front end, before moving on, you'll see that this indicator on the side, it's again the same design that we've seen for a long time on Maruti cars, so cost cutting again is evident. The front end of this car, well, it'll remind you of another popular car which recently has gone off production. Which car am I talking about? You can let me in the comment section below. Maruti calls this the honeycomb design on the grille, and there aren't any fog lamps to talk about. You can't even get them as options because there aren't any slots for them. Of course, if you go to Karol Bagh and accessory people, they'll definitely find some kind of jugaad to fix fog lamps somewhere or the other, but very basic halogen lamps and turn indicators in them. So what do you think of the looks of this car? Do you think it looks cheeky, bold, or sporty? You can let me in the comment section below. For me, I think the front end of this car definitely looks very different from any other Suzuki product we've seen in the last few years. But yes, a lot of people online are saying that it looks like a mix and match of different cars put together. Let's jump inside and see how good the interiors of this car really are now. Well, so now I'm in the front seat of the Alto K10, and this car is surprisingly quite good in terms of the plastic quality as well as the general fit and finish. It's definitely ahead of its biggest rival, or the only rival, the Renault Kwid. If you want to check out my video review of the Renault Kwid, you can check it out here in the pop-out banner, or of course the description box below. I'll put a link over there. Now, in terms of the features, don't expect too many fancy features inside, because just like the Kwid, it is an inexpensive car, a cheap car, so to say. So the features that you get, of course, this is the top of the line VXI Plus version. You get this nice touchscreen. It's a touchscreen which has been around in the Maruti range for the last 5 or 6 years. But even then, it's quite good to operate. It does look a little outdated now, but it's decent, and buyers who buy this car will appreciate it. You can hook up your Apple devices as well as Android devices for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So that's again something very good. There is no reverse parking camera, but what you do get, of course, is that the steering wheel is mounted with the audio controls as well as the controls to change the track, and you also can pick and drop your call from the steering wheel itself. So that's also a nifty touch. Power window buttons for the front seats only, so you get the power window buttons over here, and the AC controls are placed quite nicely and are decent to operate. Again, same controls that you get on a host of other Maruti cars. USB as well as an auxiliary, so Maruti thinks that their customers do listen to music on the auxiliary port, and you also get a 12-volt charging point, a place just below it to keep your cell phone as well as your road mic, just in case the road mic fails, you can do the backup mic. You also get a place to keep your water bottles, 2 of them over here, and of course the door bins are also large enough to have those big balls from your home. Apart from that, the glove box is a little too small. It's not the biggest in the business, but it can accommodate an emergency first aid kit. And the AC vents on this side and in the corner over here will remind you of the Wagoner, because the same ones, and they also rotate around like this. And talking about the side view mirrors, you can adjust them manually from the inside, and that's quite okay because it's not a very wide car. So even if you want to adjust the mirror on this side, all you do is just move around here and do it, and it'll adjust quite easily. How is the seat comfort? Well, seat comfort is generally quite good, and even though the padding and the cushioning isn't the thickest on the seats, in general the support for your lower back is good, and even for your long and lanky legs, it is generally quite good. So in terms of seat comfort as well as the plastic quality, I think this car gets a double thumbs up for the price that it sells at. Well, so now I'm in the back seat of the Alto K10, and Maruti is being a little too optimistic over here because they're giving you not one, not two, but 3 seat belts over here. So they're being a little optimistic because it's not a very wide car, it's a pretty narrow car. So 2 occupants at best at the back will fit in, and maybe a small child who's about 8 or 9 years old will fit into this seat over here in the middle. So really 3 seat belts is being a little too optimistic, but it's a good thing for safety. Now the front seats have been raised up so you can easily stretch your feet, and my height for reference is 5'10". So if your chauffeur's 5'10" and you're also 5'10", you have decent amount of space over here. That's a bit of a surprise because this is a very compact car, and I thought that even the back seat will be compromised, but no big compromises, decent amount of place, and the seat squab is decent in terms of cushioning. The backrest angle is just about okay, and you get decent support as well for long and tall lanky legs like me. So yes, in general the back seat is quite okay to sit in. The glass area is nice and big, although some part of it doesn't completely go down, some part just remains over here, but even then you can easily sit here like the boss and take that chilly air if you're traveling up the hills to the state of Himachal or Kashmir, because that's where this car really does sell very well, in Himachal and in other hilly areas. This car is a mountain goat, to be honest. Now in terms of overall practicality, there's not much to talk about because you only get one big bottle holder over here, and the rear window has to be rolled up and rolled down. That's all something which should be quite good for you if you are into exercising, because this will be quite decent exercise for you when you get in and out of this car. No big bottle holders over here at the back, but that's quite okay because, again, as I said, it is an inexpensive car and a cheap car, so to say. So all these fancy features are missing. You have to, of course, live with fixed headrests in the front and fixed headrests at the back. That's something that maybe Maruti should have thought about, especially at the back, because adjustable headrests just add that little bit of thing to the safety list of any car. Anyways, in terms of space, it is quite good. Both knee room as well as headroom is well within acceptable limits. Now let's quickly see how good the boot is and then take this car off for a drive. Well, so now let's quickly check the boot of this car. Now the boot doesn't open from here. You either need the key or you need to go back and open it from the latch opening over here. So that's something you need to do. Or you also can open it via the key. The key will remind you of the early generation of Swifts that came with this key. Now talking about the boot on this car, it's quite a nice boot and quite good in terms of the shape and size, especially considering the compact dimensions that the Alto has to offer. It's decent. We've got one big bag over here, and I expect another big bag like this to fit in, and maybe a small one. So 3 bags can easily accommodate inside the cabin or the boot of the Alto K10. There's a bit of a ledge over here, so you have to heave in those bags and use a little bit of your back in case you're using this car to drop your mother-in-law at the airport. Other than that, quite good considering the shape and size of the car. Now let's get down to the most exciting bits, driving the 66 bhp 1 litre engine of this car. Well, so here I am behind the wheel of the Alto K10 now, and remember this car comes with a 1 litre turbocharged petrol engine which makes over 100 bhp. Well, no, it doesn't. It comes with a 1 litre petrol engine with variable valve tech, and of course it makes 66 bhp, but it's a very light car, and the light carburet means that it's a very agile car and a very quick car. It feels very quick for sure, and the reason for that, of course, is because of the variable valve technology. You get very good bottom end responsiveness from this engine. It's a very responsive engine towards the lower end of its rev range, which really makes it quite nice and peppy motor, and that's something which a lot of buyers who drive a lot in the city will truly appreciate, because you don't have to change gears very regularly if you want to get the best juice out of it. Now that's a good thing. The other good thing is that ride comfort is reasonably good, even though it gets very thin tires. even then, ride comfort is quite good. It's not bad at all, and it is within acceptable limits for people who drive mostly in the city. The gear shift on the manual, which we were driving earlier, is also decent, and it's a typical Maruti Suzuki gear shift, very smooth, short throws, and the clutch action is nice and light as well. What you will enjoy is the AMT gearbox, which I am driving at the moment. If you are someone who loves hassle-free driving, then this is the gearbox that you'll enjoy. The shifts are quite decent. They do take half a second or 1 second sometimes when you put your accelerator foot down completely, but it's again quite acceptable. The steering wheel is quite light as well, and for city use it's quite okay. On the highway you will of course want that it should have had a little more feel, a little more weight in it, but then again 90% of buyers who buy this car will always be driving it in the city, so really I think it's quite good and quite acceptable as far as city limits go. What most buyers will also like about this car is the fact that visibility is very good. It's got a very short and compact wheelbase, so front visibility is good, APL isn't very chunky, side view mirrors are decent, and visibility from the back mirror also is quite decent, and you'll be happy with it, especially for people who are buying their car and driving their car for the first time users. This is a car that they will truly enjoy using. Other than that, what else is good? I have enjoyed the overall driving experience within city limits today, and I'm sure that you'll also enjoy it on the highway. When we did push it a little bit on the highway, when we see speeds in excess of 80 or 90 kph, then the car felt a little light. It felt a little light, so I think it's got its own positives points and some negatives as well. So being a highway car is not its big strength. That's something which we'll have to maybe spend a little more money and buy a car or two in a segment higher. Anyways, friends, I have definitely enjoyed driving this car around today, and if you've also enjoyed driving it with me and seeing me drive it, then please give this video a like. If you want to know more about its rivals, the Renault Kwid, then you can of course check out the link in the box below, or you can also check out my video review by clicking on the pop-out banner over here. Well, so what's my final verdict with this car? Should you consider buying it or should you simply avoid it? Well, I think it's a car that you can easily buy even if you're an enthusiast and enjoy driving, and the 1-litre petrol engine really is very peppy to drive. Of course, buy it in the manual version because that's really the one you should go for if you are an enthusiast. But even if you're just somebody who wants to travel from point A to point B and want a hassle-free car, want a car which offers you low running costs, and also want a car which offers you peace of mind because it's a Maruti, then definitely just go ahead and buy this car. If it's your first set of wheels, if you're upgrading from a two-wheeler, then definitely check this car out, and definitely I'd advise you to spend a little more money over the Alto 800 and buy this one because it offers a little more space and definitely a lot more pep. My final verdict is go ahead and buy the Alto K10. It's bye for now, and thanks so much for watching.